Massachusetts is known as the cradle of the American Revolution, Red Sox baseball, Boston, and Cape Cod. But the Bay State is also home to deep forests, wild rivers, natural wonders, and forgotten histories. Despite this, the central interior and the western mountains are drive-through country for many. My name is Bob Tremblay, and I grew up in the highlands of central Massachusetts. I've spent my life exploring the back roads and remote trails of the state. I work as a professional outdoor educator and wilderness guide, and have led thousands of people on outdoor adventures throughout New England. Join us as we head off the beaten path and visit the wild landscapes, remote places, hidden gems, and high summits of the wilds of Massachusetts. This is Bay State Backcountry. Hi, this is Bob Tremblay. Welcome to another edition of Bay State Backcountry. And today we have a beautiful, sunny, comfortably cool November day. We're going to head out to climb up Mount Grace, which is the highest point in the town of Warwick, Massachusetts. I'm looking forward to seeing up on top there's a fire tower, so I'm going to get a really great commanding view of the surrounding countryside, looking up into southern New Hampshire and southern Vermont, all from one point in Massachusetts. So perfect day to be hiking. I'm really excited that you're here, and I'm going to grab a couple things and we'll head out. Well, here we are in Warwick, and I am at the state park. Just parked the vehicle. I'm going to head off onto the Round the Mountain Trail, which, just as it says, kind of goes around the mountain, and then I'll access the New England Trail, which goes up to the summit. Beautiful day. It just keeps getting better. So I'm off. Alright, so the Round the Mountain Trail just led me down to the main trail that I'm going to be going up to the summit on. And that trail is the New England Trail. And the New England Trail is the newest addition to the National Scenic Trails program. So this is the same program that oversees the Appalachian Trail and the Continental Divide and the Pacific Crest. So just like those trails, this is in essence a very long and narrow national park. So it traverses southern New England, including the summit of Mount Grace. So we're going to be following the National Scenic Trail, the New England Trail, to the summit of Mount Grace. Alright, so one of the things that's very interesting here at Mount Grace is that there actually was a ski area here at one time. So I think starting in the late 1920s, 1930s, there was a walk up and ski down ski area here on the mountain. And then sometime after the 1940s, they actually installed lift service, primarily with a rope tow. And so when the ski area actually operated here until 1973, which is amazing to me that this area has grown up so much in such a short time period. But right behind me here is this old concrete dam used to hold water back, I believe, for storing water for the snowmaking operation that they had here. So all that's left now, as you can see, is that the dam has been broken, the trees have grown up, and there's really you almost have to use your imagination to imagine that there was a ski area here as recently as 42 years ago. So very interesting. But I'm going to continue up the New England Trail up to the summit of Mount Grace. So because this is the National Scenic Trail, there are some designated camping areas along the way. I imagine that in time there'll be more. But this is the shelter that's here at the base of Mount Grace. And this is a shelter that's used by people that are hiking the trail. If you're hiking through for a day, you could stop by. It makes a great place for lunch. But if you were doing the entire New England Trail, you need to stop for the night. This would be a great shelter to get out of the rain or out of the wind. Obviously, there's fresh water right over here, an ideal spot to spend the night if you're doing a through hike of the New England Trail. I'm not doing that. I have some equipment, but I'm not going to spend the night. I'm going to continue on up. So let's go. Well, this is pretty neat. Right here on this, I have a white pine tree. I'm surprised to see this so low. This is actually a hole made by a pileated woodpecker. So the pileated woodpecker, it's actually very common. They're not seen very often because they spend so much time high up in the trees, and they really are pretty reclusive, but they are a common bird. They're a large woodpecker, almost the size of a small crow. And so it's unusual to see a woodpecker hole so low on this tree, but what woodpeckers do, the downy woodpecker, the hairy woodpecker, and the pileated woodpecker, is they're tridactyls. So they have 2 toes in the front of their foot and 1 in the back. And having this orientation of their 3 toes enables them to walk straight up and down the side of trees. And as they're hopping up and down the trees, they have sensors, they have special nerves in their feet, and they can actually feel the vibrations of insects underneath the bark of the tree. And when they detect the insects, they start pecking, and they start pecking to get at the bugs. So this was a pileated woodpecker hole. Very typical. They're big holes. They're often rectangular in shape. I've seen them actually almost twice the size of this. And we can see these wood chips here where he's been pecking in. I see some more right down here. So very convenient of this pileated woodpecker to make a hole so close so we can look at it and actually get up close to it like this. So if we hear them, it'd be kind of neat, but they're out here. So this is a great example of animal sign. Animals show you that they're here even though you don't see them themselves. So pileated woodpecker. So here I am I've reached the summit, and right over here is my main goal, is even though we have a wooded summit, we have the fire tower here. So I'm going to climb the fire tower, and there's an amazing view that we have in store. You're going to be able to see southern New Hampshire, southern Vermont, and almost all of central Massachusetts. Great, really worth the hike. So from my perch here, up on top of the Mount Grace Fire Tower, I can actually see into 3 states. Just over my shoulder is Mount Monadnock in southern New Hampshire. As I look over here, I can see Mount Wachusett in central Massachusetts. To the south over here, I'm looking into Quabbin Reservoir, which is the water source for the urban east of Massachusetts. And as I look over this way to the north and west, I can see Mount Snow in Vermont, which actually has some snow on one of their ski trails right now. And I can also see where the New England Trail continues on. The ridge going down as the New England Trail heads south. It goes across the Broad Valley here. As it goes across the Broad Valley, it actually follows what used to be, in the 1700s, the Massachusetts Turnpike, as it heads towards Gap Mountain and heading down south towards Amherst, Massachusetts. Beautiful 360-degree view of central Massachusetts, southern New Hampshire, and southern Vermont. Beautiful, beautiful view. Well, we're heading back down, and this is the New England Trail that we came up to the tower. But now instead of going down, just to make things a little bit more interesting, I'm going to take a different trail. So instead of being on the New England Trail, I'm going to take this trail behind me. And this trail behind me is interesting because this is the old ski trail from the ski area. So believe it or not, as recently as 1973, this was a ski trail. As I go down, I expect to see some remnants of the rope tow and the lift that used to actually bring the skiers up here. But I'm going to hike down on the old ski trail and see what we can find as we go along. Just in time, so we have maybe another half hour of daylight left, but we were able to get down the mountain, plenty of time without needing any artificial lights. Came down that old ski trail. I was hoping to see some of the remnants of the rope tow, but I just couldn't find it. But certainly can't complain because I had a beautiful view up on top. This is a great hike. This is one of those hidden gems that people just don't know about. And I'm really glad we were able to seize the opportunity today and hike up there and see it kind of as almost like a last fall hike. Winter's just around the bend, which is fine with me, but it'll be a change of season. So great to have a fall hike before we switch into full winter mode. So thanks for joining me on Mount Grace out here in beautiful Warwick, Massachusetts, small town of 780 people. So we're going to be heading home and saying goodbye to Mount Grace for now. Until next time, this is Bob Tremblay. I'll see you on the trail in Bay State Backcountry in our next edition.